Welcome everyone, I'm Yvonne Davis. I'm an author, astrologer, and life transformation coach. And welcome to my channel where I do general astrology and political astrology. So I made an announcement recently that I was going to start uploading at least one political astrology video every week on Friday at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. So this is the first one. And but I also want to let you know that if you want more, you want like you want to see them faster or ad-free, you can always go to my Patreon account. Let me show you really quick what I've got going on with that. Okay, we're going to talk about the calendar here for Congress because that's going to be relevant. But let me take you real quick and show you. I have this new tier called Political Tarot Astrology Predictions for $10 a month. So you can get any videos that I upload related to political astrology or political tarot astrology, whatever, for $10 a month. They'll be uploaded early and ad-free. So otherwise, if you're interested in getting a reading, you can go to my website, YvonneDavis.com, click on the astrology tab, and it'll take you to where you can sign up for an astrology reading. Or you can email me at admin@YvonneDavis.com. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on this video. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the chart here. And this, okay, so as we all know, some really exciting things have been happening. And I was actually really blown away because I did some videos about Saturn direct conjunct the North Node. So for those of you who are not so familiar to astrology, this is Saturn right here. This is the North Node. And around midnight of the 27th, when I'm actually making this video and uploading it, is the Saturn direct conjunction to the South Node. What that does is it's very karmic, and it's all about, it's like lessons that you have to learn, okay? You can't move forward in your life until you deal with your past karma. And then you can release it. And that's what the South Node is about. It's about being able to release things that are no longer working in our lives, or we're finished with them. We've learned our karmic lessons. We don't need to hold on to that karma anymore. So that was one of the alignments that was extremely important. And then the other one was Pluto stationing direct at 20 degrees of Capricorn, 38 minutes, which is happening right now as I'm making and uploading this video on Friday, September 27th, 2019. These things are happening right now, and at the same time, here it is, the truth is being unearthed. I told you that's what was going to happen when Pluto stationed direct. 20 degrees of Capricorn, 38 minutes, and it'll be there for an entire week. It just stations in the sky for an entire week, building and building and building power. That is when it is the most powerful, is when it's either stationing retrograde or stationing direct. And what it does is it turns the earth upside down. So anything that was hidden comes to the fore. And it's usually about something about power or corruption or secrets that have been hidden. And we're seeing all of this with the whistleblower complaint. So yeah, it just blew me away. I really had no idea it was going to be this profound. And it is overriding everything else. I think it's working in combination with the eclipses because as I also said, when I did a reading with the July 16th full moon eclipse, that that Congress would move forward with an official impeachment inquiry, which then will lead to articles of impeachment and a vote to impeach. So I made that prediction. I stood by that prediction. I admit I got a little bit nervous because it was taking longer than I thought it would take to happen. And now with Saturn going direct and joining the South Node, and then Pluto stationing direct for an entire week, here it is. So it's pretty mind-blowing. Okay, so now what I want to show you is I'm going to jump forward to December 12th. And there's a reason why I chose this date, and it has to do with when Congress is in session and when they're on recess. So I'll take you back real quick to the website that I was looking at. So if you're interested, all you have to do is just Google legislative calendar, and you can find something like this, maybe even this page itself. So this is a 2019 legislative calendar. And so I want to scroll down to September. Okay. Now we have a little bit of a problem because this last day of the House and Senate meets, and then they go on recess for 2 full weeks. But I have heard a lot, you know, on the news, like Schiff saying that they will continue to proceed with this investigation in spite of the recess. So, you know, it's not the same as if they were in session. But in other words, they're not just going to go on vacation for 2 full weeks. They will still be continuing to do work related to this investigation. So, so it's not. So in other words, you can trust that it's not just going to be on hold for 2 weeks, because that could have a damaging effect. But they're not going to let that happen. And then they're back in session on October 15th. And so let's just look at this real quick. They will be in session, and then take a week off in late November, and then they'll be back in session. And this was the date that felt meaningful to me, because this is when they go on recess for 3 weeks until they come back in early January. So, and then that's when we're going to move into those mega eclipses. So when I looked at that, it's like, sure, there's going to be stuff happening in the next 2 months, October and November. But for some reason, I just felt like this date felt more conclusive to me. So I wanted to look at the full moon on that. Okay, so now that I've shown you that and give you a little bit of explanation of why I chose that date, I want to bring that chart back up. Okay, so yeah, the thing about astrology you have to understand is, of course, you know, the transits are happening all the time. There's no moment that we don't have astrological alignments happening. But what we always want to look at is we want to look at the ones that are the most powerful, because those are the ones that are more predictive, okay? The ones that pass quickly are more like, you know, like weather passing or mood passing. When you see really, really powerful alignments, like eclipses are super, super powerful. And planets like Saturn and Pluto stationing direct or stationing retrograde, or something like Saturn conjunct the South Node. These are the kinds of alignments that tell us, that allow us to make predictions, okay? And I know some astrologers don't like to make predictions, and you know, that's their personal values. In my opinion, there's a lot to be gained by making predictions, because when you have some idea of how the wind is blowing, so to speak, then it helps to guide you in certain directions. So for me, when we're looking at what's coming in Donald Trump's chart, I guess when you know, like what interested me in the first place and why I started putting these videos up on YouTube was because I thought people need to have some hope, because the election was so shocking and devastating. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. There were people out there who were absolutely terrified and devastated when they found out that Trump was going to be our next president. And I don't want to go into the details, but it was, it just obliterated some people's worlds. And And although maybe we've come to somewhat adjusted to this bizarre reality, it's like we're living in either some science fiction movie or a reality TV show. I don't know what to call it, Game of Thrones, but it's not business as usual by any stretch of the imagination. And so a lot of us really needed like some sense of hope, like what is happening to our country? Is there any hope of returning to normalcy? And because it's not just that a Republican won. I mean, we've had many Republican presidents, certainly in my lifetime. That's different. This is completely out of the scope of anything I ever imagined I would see in my lifetime. So, and I don't even think it's actually fair to call him a Republican, because he doesn't represent the traditional Republican values that I've known in my lifetime, whether I liked them or not. But that's not who he is. He's something else entirely. So this is about helping us to have faith and instill some sense of hope that this cannot last, okay? So that's why I brought this chart up, because with the December 12th full moon, some important things are happening, and at the same time, as I said, this is also the conclusion. This should be basically the last day that Congress is in session before in 2019, before they return in 2020. Now, it is possible that they can do work during that recess, but I think at the moment it's safe to just assume that they're going on recess for 3 weeks and won't be back till early January 2020. And of course, you know, as time goes by, we'll look more at those alignments too. So with this one, what we see is the full moon is over his natal sun conjunct the north node, opposite the moon conjunct the south node. So for those of you who don't know this, Donald Trump was born on a total full moon eclipse. And so this full moon is right over his natal full moon eclipse. So this is really important. Anybody who has this kind of alignment is going to have some important things happening in their life. Now, often full moons only last for the 2 weeks. It's only the eclipses that last longer. But sometimes what happens is that either the full moon prior to the actual full moon eclipse or the one a month after are sometimes what actually signifies what's going to happen to that person when the full moon eclipse does come. And full moons mean endings, okay? But it could be an ending of anything. It could be an ending of the impeachment inquiry. It could be that Congress votes not to impeach him. I don't think we will have gotten to the actual impeachment trial by this point. So it could be an ending of the investigation or a vote not to impeach. That would also be an ending. Or it could indicate an end to his presidency. So so that's the thing is with astrology, you have to be pretty careful not to read in what you want to see. It does represent an ending, but you can't read into it the ending that you want to see. It just represents ending. So so you have to leave some space open for what that ending might be. Sometimes I get intuitive hits, but when I have strong feelings about it, I have to be really careful because if I'm attached to a specific outcome, then sometimes I'll think that what I want to be true is my intuition, and instead it's just a wish. So I have to be really careful with that when I am listening to my intuition, not to mix it with wishful thinking. That's why I'm not going to say, I think I have an opinion about it, but I'm not actually going to say it up here, just because of the fact that that I want to be really careful about when I'm making predictions. I want to be really careful about it, not because I'm afraid of taking a risk. I'm not. I made the prediction that we would end up in this inquiry to begin with. it's more about being really careful about mixing my intuition with my wishful thinking. That's the main reason why I'm really careful about making predictions. But the other really interesting thing we see here now is that the North Node is on his Mercury, because if you go back and look at the videos that I did about the eclipses, the new moon eclipse happened at 10 degrees of Cancer, which is close enough to his Mercury to be called a conjunction. And that activated the Mercury-Neptune square, which I always say is related to his pathological lying. So now the North Node has moved into that position, which is like a way, that's the way eclipses work, is that they take a longer time to unfold, way beyond the 2 weeks of a normal full moon. And watching where the North Node is, because the new moon and the North Node are not necessarily going to be right next to each other. If they're next to each other, then usually the event occurs much faster. But if they're farther apart, and in this case they were farther apart, then it takes longer for the actual events to unfold. But now that it's here at 8 degrees, conjunct his Mercury, activating that square, that's how we know the karma is about to unfold, okay? Not only that, but now we're getting all of this planetary activity uploading at the point where the full moon eclipse will be and where the Pluto-Saturn conjunction will be. So, so this is a really important full moon for so many reasons. It's very karmic. And it's squaring Jupiter in his 3rd house, which I've often said that I believe Jupiter in his chart is the planet that represents him being president. So it's making a major square to his Jupiter, which means to his presidency. And we've also got some quincunxes here that are always really important because they're very karmic. So there's a lot of stuff going on here that could very likely be telling us, it's definitely telling us that something is coming to culmination, something is coming to fruition, something is coming to an ending. The power is building. We're about to see that moment that we've all been waiting for. So, so this is really exciting. Again, you know, I know it's still about 2.5 months away, but I think that we're in very exciting times now. So, oh boy. Okay, so one more thing is that before I close this video is that I will go ahead and do another video about that new moon so that I can show it to you again, because some of the videos I made in the past when I was you know, in the master's program, I was moving around a lot, you know, because I was in Florida and then I moved to Colorado, and I haven't had a permanent home since I left Florida. And you know, being on campus and stuff like that, I didn't have the proper equipment for making videos, and so some of them, just to be completely honest, weren't very good. The information was good, but the quality of the video was not very good. And so I will go ahead and make another video that shows you how this, like for example, this chart and other charts are relating back to that new moon eclipse in July and the full moon eclipse in July. Okay, well that's it for today. So, so again, if you want a personal reading, just go to the link below, click on it, and sign up for a reading, or email me at admin@yvonnedakes.com. If you want to become a patron, go to the link below. I have $1, $5, and $10 tiers. It's the $10 tier where you'll get any political astrology videos or tarot, anything that relates to the political situation or any political candidates or politicians, and the divination tools that I like to use, which is the tarot and astrology. Any of those videos I make will get uploaded immediately, so you'll get advanced viewing ad-free, okay? So I think that's it for now, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.